Hi there, and welcome back to the FFS podcast. This is the first episode of a brand new series called The Dressing Room. And the reason I called it The Dressing Room is because we're not going to be talking about football in this podcast series. We're actually going to be talking about the lives of the guests that we've had on the podcast before. So we're going to be rewinding the clock back all the way down to episode number 1, and we're going to be talking to guests who appeared on the podcast before in season 1, season 2, and we're going to be just talking about their life, just a general chat, just a regular, general, informal chat without anything to do with football. We're not going to be talking about, whatever's happening right now in whichever club that they support or anything. It's just going to be about them and about us and just all of that. But here we are, and for episode number 1, we've really dialed up the clock here because we've got Prakash, and it's odd. I just feel a little weird because every time we've been on the screen, it's generally been you who does the introduction, right?
And the recording doesn't work sometimes.
Yeah,
Restart the call again.
Oh yeah. And those stares like, okay, dude, we've got to end this anytime soon. But yeah, you'll come to know why we've said all of this. But yeah, Prakash was the first guest of the FFS podcast, and for a good reason. And we'll talk about that again in a little while later. But apart from that, I don't think you've been on the podcast before, right? After that, like since then, I doubt we've ever.
Actually, just the starting one. We did quite a few in the start, but then like after that, pretty big gap, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what's up, man? It's been so long. Like you mentioned, it's been such a long time. I don't think we've I remember I remember a few years ago, like we were like almost every other week or something. We were connecting.
It's been so long, since we caught up. Since you've gotten jacked, by the way, since our last live.
Yeah. dude. I remember I was watching some of the videos from the old ones, like the 12th man one, and I look thin. I look I look malnourished. I was like, oh shit.
The perspectives are shifted. Eh? Yeah, for me, like that's what I remember. So like, that's the image in my head, and then like seeing you, I'm like, okay, all right, cool. The Liverpool shirts on. Ready to be. You could basically be a defender on the team at this point.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, okay. So let's again. When I say dial back the clock, we're dialing back the clock now to what 2017, 2018, just before the World Cup.
It was. Was it actually? No,
I'm pretty sure it was before the World Cup because that was initially why we or before the Champions League final or something like that. We started.
It was after a pretty big event, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No. So okay. So if for those of you wondering what we're talking about, so before we became the FFS podcast, or before we became For Football's Sake, we were a small YouTube channel called the 12th Man Podcast, and I say we here. Literally we. I normally say we for FFS when it's just basically me anyway. But here it literally is we because this was an idea that you had come up with like early on in 2018. So okay, talk to me. Why the idea and why did you reach out to me? Because
two different questions and I think two different answers for both, right? Like why the idea and why you, like both need some time to explain, right?
You got
starting with the idea, at least I think like at that time I felt like we were using the WhatsApp group as a way for like all of us to connect after we graduated. We had Facebook
by the way, Brian and I are like he's my junior from school, so that's why the connection after graduate.
Right. So we went to the school, and then we had like Facebook groups where we would chat about games, and then that became a WhatsApp group, and more people joined it. It used to be just our school initially, and then it became like all-encompassing thing for like Dubai, India. Like it became a multinational WhatsApp group. I saw that, and I was like, I love the fact that we were sort of this community for people who are interested in this particular thing, and it was a way for all of us to connect, no matter where we're from, what age, where we are located, and whatever it is. And I figured, that would be a great like we have these little sound bites, and it's great for like arguing and like having back and forth. All Liverpool suck, United suck. Like, okay, yeah, it's fun and all, right? But I felt like having a place for us to sort of like get on and have these long form chats really kind of like it's an environment that fosters, I suppose, communication and cooperation as opposed to arguments. So I mean, not just looking at the negative part, but also I felt like, it's actually a great place for people to come and really voice their whole opinions, like talk about what's going on a weekly basis, what's going on a long-term basis. And just having that regular touch point, I felt like could be, just great for both, me, like the community, our WhatsApp group, but I think there's also like some part of me inside. I was like, what if we become famous? Like that'd be fucking cool. I forgot. Are we allowed to swear on this or not?
Yeah. We can. Yeah.
So that's encouraged, right? Like go more viral. So like somebody was like, it'd be pretty cool if that happened too. And I thought like that's something we should do. But if I like thinking about it, I knew like if this was going to happen, there was only like one person I could talk to about this, because you're super enthusiastic. You're like always on top of it. Like no matter who was talking shit in the group, you will respond, and then you like you would give some like sarcastic remark or something or the other. So and I knew then like if this was going to happen, like it has to happen with you. And then like I reached out to you, and we started talking, and then like you just took it and you ran away with it. Like you started brainstorming ideas on how to do this, how to expand the name. I think like I felt like it was great.
I mean, you got me also at the right time. Like I just probably finished my final exams of my masters, and so I was like, okay, I have a gap before I start really getting down into my dissertation. And even dissertation, it was like you normally do it at home or you go to the library. So it's not like you got to attend classes or got to get you don't have to study or mug up stuff or stuff like that, right? So it's kind of you're free during that end period of your master. So you caught me at the right time because I was basically like, okay, my mind was empty. I was like, okay, I have plenty of ideas right now that I can think about. So the fact that when you reached out, I was like, okay, that sounds, because on the group, like it was probably at the most active period that it has ever been. I think maybe SM during what is that soccer
manager homies, like that unbeaten. That is like the top, right?
Yeah,
but
dude, that was crazy. We were preparing reports, sharing photos.
Oh, dude, I almost got fired from my job. I was doing an internship at that time too. I was working at this like automotive company, and I'd come to I'd like have my morning meetings, and then for the rest of the day, I'll be like chatting on my phone, trying to like do transfers.
I remember the best part was that we'd have the draft day or whatever, like the day where we could bid and all of that, right? And that would be at a particular time. I found myself at a couple of seasons or whatever. I'd be in office, and luckily the time would be like just after office, but I'd be on my way to commute. So what I'd tell my colleagues would be like, okay, I'll stay back at office, I'll lock up or whatever, and then when everyone's gone, I'll be like,
working so hard, man. Wow, what a hard work to promote this guy.
And then I'm bidding for like Benzema and Isco and all these guys, and then create. I mean, some of the deals then were crazy, but
that was my favorite part. Like really like convincing, convincing someone of the deal, and then there were some points where like I couldn't get one person, and this person needed some other transfer. So I started like setting up these rings, like these 4-person rings where you had all like alternate parties.
I remember like when Mookie and like I think was it Mookie, someone wanted Gerrard, and I just got like Verratti for Gerrard or something. I was like, okay, great, take him. But no, I mean those were crazy. But like you mentioned, I think we had a lot of like points that we discussed over SMH and on our WhatsApp groups, and even when you sold me on the idea that we had those ideas and might want to put it up anyway on the public space.
Yeah, of course. And I feel like it was like even with the the WhatsApp group, like it's always been changing, right? Like it began as a Facebook group, then it became something else, and then became something else, and then it was this. And I felt like it's going to keep changing. Like it's always going to keep changing. But the important part is that there's a place for like people to, like, talk shit.
Yeah,
right. So
exactly. And
also,
also,
like, it's not like it's work. It's like this is something that like we want to do. We would have wanted to do, just
yeah,
on our free time. So this is like two people, like two buddies getting together and like chatting. Right. Like new
exactly.
guests coming in, chatting. That's what it is.
And I guess also the time where like the popularity of things like AFTV and United Stand had risen quite a bit. I think especially during
Yeah.
those years, and it felt like
Yep.
there was nothing for us, as in people who weren't going to the stadiums and watching it. So in terms of
Yeah.
giving us a voice, so that probably appealed to me the most. That
Right.
there's a market for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like I had a whiteboard in my studio where I was staying, and I
Yeah.
like writing ideas, and we were writing the plans and everything. And it
Yeah.
was pretty,
Yeah.
pretty cool. And I had like people coming over and be like, "What the hell is this? Why are you writing this kind of stuff?"
Yeah, and like coming up with the name too. I remember like it took quite a few sessions, but then like I feel like the one that we ended up with finally was great. Like I actually liked it.
Yeah, I liked it, but I mean the 12th man was great, but I think the best sort of idea that I had for luckily for this one was to get everyone involved. So like I created that group for like after 12th man. I was like, okay, obviously we had issues later on because you had a job then and I was traveling, and
So
then
like just like how you were saying, like that was the time when you were just getting free. For me, that was the time that like I'd graduated and I had some space and free time, and that was the point where I stopped getting free. Literally, like right after we started was when like things started really moving for me.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
that's why like the time that I could spend got lower and lower as it progressed.
Yeah, and even I after September is when I graduated as well. So we basically had like May till September where we were actually the most active, and then after that,
Yeah.
I moved back, and then the timings are like what 12 hours, 11 hours. So it's just got way too. It's like difficult, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Timings
and,
are all off, and then like sometimes I'd be in Toronto. I was also like traveling a lot for work. I think 2018, 2019, I was also like I was interviewing to move to another job too. So that was also like a whole
Yeah.
shebang. So like I felt like I couldn't really spend too much time. Kind of like it's like there's a toll with context switching. Like you have something that you're focused on, and then if you change that focus even in a day, there's a huge friction. There's a huge time lost before you can become productive again.
Yeah.
So uh, like obviously it's so easy to think about and be like, okay, this is like a 30-minute conversation. Like how big of a deal can it be, right? But then like there's the whole wrapping up to it, having the conversation, being in the mindset of having the conversation, and coming off of it, and then sort of still like thinking about it. Like okay, now you're still thinking about football, and like changing back to whatever you're supposed to be doing. That
no, also
loss.
that I think we jumped way too early into YouTube, and like editing was a pain. Like especially if it just wasn't the two of us, and when we got more people involved, it was like coordinating. I mean, coordinating time is still an issue right now in the sense that because everyone's everywhere. It's just kind of making sure it's all at the same time. But to edit it at that point, it was like, oh, we've got no time. I'm traveling. You're busy. It's like, where are we gonna have time?
Right. And then editing took so long too. We had to get like I had to do audio on my end, and you had to do audio on your end, and you had to like sit there and like match the two audio samples to make sure it fits.
Oh, it was crazy. But I mean, okay. So all that. So like I said, the idea. I mean, the one thing I learned from that was to get you guys involved, and like, I think it was Avishka who came up with FFS as I came up with FFS as Foreign Football Society, and he was like, for football's sake, and I was like, oh, okay,
oh yeah, I don't remember. Okay.
It was all on that WhatsApp group, and it just kind of always got lost. But obviously, as the admin, I had to make sure everything was right. But that was actually the biggest learning curve was to get sort of like if I were to come up with ideas, it'd just be a limited sort, but to get people who had been on the podcast before and get their thoughts on what they wanted to see and all that, it was really great. But Okay, so
But also
let's
like the
talk.
Instagram page and all those other things. Like those
I'm
are also
dying. Oh
all
wait, shit! I was about to give off the password. Shit.
the
Ah.
password.
Yeah, I was about to give the Instagram password because you
Oh yeah,
created that and
yeah, yeah.
haven't
Yeah.
changed it. So I was like about to say it, and I'm like, oh shit, no.
You
Okay.
changed it. I feel like I still have access to it. Actually, I haven't like. You can just switch accounts on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah,
I would
yeah,
have.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
I kept it the same. I just felt like I just showed that there was a change in the avatar and the name and all that, but yeah, I
Oh
kept
yeah,
it
yeah,
similar.
yeah.
But so how's it going for? I mean, what have you been up to? Because you've now moved from Toronto to San Francisco.
Yeah, I moved like um around the same time last year. Actually,
Hmm.
December was when actually November 1st was when I actually moved here. So it's going to be about a year now since I moved SI in the
So
middle of a
how's
pandemic.
yeah? How's the shift?
And then
How's the
the
shift
election
been?
was so the election was November 2nd. Okay, like I was like,
Mm,
in case Biden loses and Trump comes to power, I need to get the fuck over the border before
yeah,
then. So
yeah,
like I flew in. I made sure my start date was November 1st, and I flew in on November 1st to get into the country. Got inside, I'm like, poof, all right, now nothing can happen.
oh,
So like, yeah, so like it's been a good year now since I've been
mhm,
here, and yeah, so mostly just so it's like this, like the way I think about it is like um if you like at least in the US, I
mhm,
think it's very different from different countries are different. Canada's not so much like this, but like in US particularly, this the cities are so specialized. If you go to one city, it's like being in a different country from another city. The people that you'll meet and the professions that they're in are going to be completely different from any other city. But the people in that city will have all the same industry that they're in. You go to LA, you cannot like fall down without running. Like you cannot fall into the ground. There'll be that many influencers taking photos over there. Like it's just LA is just entertainment, media, whatever. You go to Boston, it's just colleges and medical students.
yeah,
Everything is about hospital. Everyone's doctors and in the medical industry over
yeah,
there. And like SF is again like it's tech. Like it is such a monoculture of just like tech. So like I think like if you really want to specialize in something and you want to get into that, like you really need to be in that area
yeah,
because it's almost like the percentage of conversations that you would have and the information that would be exchanged just from like being in that is accelerated so much more than any other place. So like all
that's
your
true.
friends, everybody you know, the people that you will run into are like coffee shops, whatever, they're all in the same industry. Every conversation you overhear is about the same thing. So like you're constantly in that space and you're
Yeah,
always like continuously like learning and like getting new ideas and new things to work on. So like I think that's the advantage of like going to the US and particularly going to like an epicenter
of, yeah,
of some sector or service or whatever that is.
that's true.
So I knew that because like, after college I'd made my switch into artificial intelligence. I started as a mechanical engineer, and after working at like the auto companies, GM, BMW, I realized that like all of the future in all these industries is headed towards tech.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
all the projects I worked at GM were to do with autonomous vehicles and vision-based adaptive cruise control and things like that. So I was like, oh, like if everything is headed that way, like I might as well like go there and like actually build the same thing instead of like depending on it from like an external source. So I made the switch and I got into ML and AI. And once you're in it, if you really need to be good at it, you need to go where it's all made,
oh,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So like back then in 2018 itself, like my goal was this: like I need to set myself up to come to San Francisco, and which is why I took the role in 2019. I was like preparing for the interviews and like really like I didn't have time to really get into the I couldn't context switch into doing the podcast at that time. And yeah, so like after all of that, like it's been pretty interesting being here. Pretty cool
yeah,
city. Um,
of course.
uh, you see my Instagram stories, like constantly posting about how nice the city is.
I feel like that's what we kind of. I don't know, man. Even when I like went to the UK, I feel like I posted more there than I ever posted in my life. Like I don't know if it's just like when you travel or something like that. It just feel like you
It's
start
not
or you need
it's
to share.
novelty. right? Like it's
Yeah,
novel to get to. Like, and it's also like if it's human to like if you feel an emotion of joy, it's human to want
yeah.
to share that, right?
Share it. Yeah.
So you going to a new place, seeing something new is bringing you joy, and you want to like spread that, so you share it. So uh,
Make
at least
everyone else envious of you, jealous of you.
I
I
mean,
mean that
like I
depends
don't
from
see it
person.
that way. Like I try to like for me, it's like I want to share it, and then I want whoever whoever sees it to either like experience it secondhand, you know,
Yeah.
or like interest them in this that they'll want to do it eventually. You know,
I get
one
it.
of those.
No, I'm just saying that there are. I mean, I probably. Mm, I mean, I'm sure there are a couple of times that I'd posted just so that I want to be like, look where I
Flexing.
am, flexing it. I mean, probably
Yeah,
if I was like at a football match or something, it's like, look, guys, like, fuck
yeah,
yeah.
okay, okay.
Um, but nah, I get it. I think it's just to kind of say like, hey man, just if you're not experiencing it or something like that, I mean, check it out or something like that. Yeah, I guess the same sort of sentiment.
Like
Like
that,
get
and also I like you know living vicariously through someone else.
mm,
Like I like to do that too. Like if I see, like you know you went to some of those games, and like when I watch your story, I feel like I was actually there,
yeah.
and like it brought me joy just to see those things, like experience that too, right?
and, and
And I think
also it
like
kind of
that's the,
is like a conversation like it kind if you've also experienced something similar, so you can just strike up a conversation like, hey, so for example, if
yeah,
I post something on a food stuff, right, so they're like, oh, so what did you cook, and like, oh, I made this, and then, oh, I made that, and I went here, I went, so just kind of starts a conversation, like, which is
yeah,
pretty cool. Yeah,
totally, yeah.
because you've done that as well. You started cooking quite a bit, and
Well, like
South
I'm
Indian
stuck at
stuff.
home. I'm stuck at home, and like I'm not getting South Indian here. So the only way I can get like good home cooked meals, I was like, okay, I have to learn how to cook, I guess. Right. So
But
there's no
I
other
mean,
choice.
SF will have a lot of Indian places generally, right? Wouldn't?
So like SF, the city is too bougie to have anything like
Mm,
that. They're just like it's like that's something I actually miss about Toronto. Like Toronto has
yeah,
so many hole in the walls, and the restaurants that you eat at in Toronto, like you have like neighborhoods. There's like a little Tibet. Like literally, people have been living there for generations from like
yeah,
Tibet. The food
yeah,
is like authentic. It's from a little like tiny like shop, and it'll be fire. Like it'll
yeah,
be so good. We'll be talking about it. Like I am 2 years later. Like the thing
yeah.
about SF is what they tend to do is because the city is so small. It's such a small city that you can walk. It's a 9 by 9 mile city is what they call it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
really that big. That's it. So you can actually walk from like one end of the city to the other very easily. That like this the space is so limited that the only restaurants that will survive here are like the like the high end,
I chain
yeah,
stuff.
not even chains. Like there are no chains here. Like that
Really?
Chick-fil-A isn't even in SF. There's no Chick-fil-A in SF. Like the
Wow.
food that you would find is like okay, maybe it'd be Indian, but it's like Indian that's
Oh, there's a
you
lot of
know
fusion stuff, like the twists and the
fusion.
turns and oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's great though. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's great, but like sometimes like you don't want to like be like like selling a kidney. You just want to go to a nice like Mallu
yeah,
shawarma shop and get
exactly.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, after a while, even I get like I like the twists and turns if done well, obviously, but
yeah,
it
they're
feels
almost
like
always that's the great part because like
hmm,
you to survive in this area you have to be
you have
great.
to, yeah,
So every restaurant you go to, like amazing, like it'll blow your mind, completely different, whole new thing, amazing.
blow your
It's
kidney and a hole in your wallet as well.
easily, easily.
But
Like,
okay, so how? I know we're not going to talk about football, but how's it like catching up with stuff football? Have you been like? I know the time difference must be kind of a pain at times.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So like that's another reason I found like myself like slowly watching less and less football because most of the games for me on the West Coast are even the East Coast it was tough. Like
Yeah,
the only weekend you have to get up at like 8 a.m. and watch a game. Like oh god, like I want to sleep in. But like now it's at 5 a.m. So like
yeah. But do
there's
you
some games
catch
that
like highlights and all that, or what's the?
yeah. Particularly like like big ones like and
Hmm,
the I love the fact that like the highlights have become so much better now. Official channels are doing highlights, like good 15-minute, like every shot, every like pass, assist, chance highlights. I love it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like even to like watch the Champions League comeback highlight, like it was great. Like so, getting the chance to watch the highlights is good, but obviously watching the game is better.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. But I guess, I mean, there are a lot of people who do say the same, but I feel like I'm glad that you're at least watching it. I mean, sometimes you just kind of fall out of love of the game just because you're not being able to watch too much of it.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Like
but anything
NBA was
else?
like in
Yeah.
Dubai. Like NBA was hard to follow because it was just off of our time.
Are you watching that more now?
No, sadly no. Like
Is there?
I was like I'm really into the Raptors, right? But here, if I say I'm into the Raptors, like
Yeah.
nah, it's
No.
Golden
But
State. So like
but are there any other like sports or anything that you are into, or what do you do in your pastime if you got like free time or whatever?
free time. Free time.
What is free time?
What is free time? What is this thing you speak of? Free time, free time. Usually, we just go stuff our face at a rest, like
Mm,
at a place to eat, or like sometimes like we just get together. Like we have these like movie nights that we do
nice.
some of the weekends. We just all get together, watch horror movies, like 20 people packed into a house and like all watching a horror movie together. That's kind of fun. And like since I've been here, because this is San Francisco, like
Yeah.
birthplace of the counterculture, we've just been dropping a shit ton of acid. Oh
Oh,
yeah. Uh,
that
so that's been fun. But yeah, so that's basically like free time is really
okay.
spent on food and horror movies. And yeah, yeah. And it's the
Nice.
pandemic too, right? So you can't really do too many things. Like you can't like
What's
we
like?
want to go.
Yeah. What do you do in like in SF if you've got time to spare or whatever? Like, what are the activities or shit that you can do?
And there are so many. There are definitely like so many.
Hmm.
I for some reason just haven't had the chance to explore them so far because like of course restaurants are one of the biggest highlights, but there's also all these bars and like dancing clubs, salsa clubs, normal clubs too, like partying clubs too. That's also there. There are a lot of activities you can do, but really like
Hmm.
the vibe of the city is less like New York. New York is like let's finish work at 5, 6 and get fucking wasted with our friends.
Yeah.
SF is like very opposite. It's like let's like smoke up at work. That's basically the vibe in SF. And like let's go for a hike on the weekend. So like
Yeah.
oh yeah, so that's another thing that I've been doing quite a bit more because I've been going on a
Hiking.
lot of hikes there. Yeah, yeah. Great.
Yeah. I mean,
Great hikes.
all of your photos on Instagram seem to have some sort of elevation there, but I guess the city's also pretty
That's
elevated.
just like that's just me on
Yeah.
the way to like get pick up coffee or like breakfast. I have to
Yeah.
like climb up and down a hill just to like get to the nearest place.
That's true.
That's the city, and like that's actually why the city is so beautiful, right? Because like it's laid out like someone probably looked at the map and said, you know what, let's just draw a bunch of straight lines, and then he never looked at the elevation map, and it's literally just like these massive hills and roads going at 90 degrees over them. Like there's no planning involved, which is why the city looks nice. Like there are a lot of
Yeah.
like great places to take photos and great shots to take, right? Um, so yeah, that's another thing. Like I think a lot of people here really enjoy like going on
S-
hikes.
SF's the town that's got that famous the downward
Yeah,
chicane stuff.
Lombard Street. Yeah,
Yeah.
Lombard
Okay.
Street. Yeah, it's really
It's like
nice.
yeah, that's the way to describe SF to anyone who hasn't seen it. It's like
You
just
could see.
describe that street. They would have definitely seen it in some movie or the other. It's like that's probably the most iconic. Um,
I think like 2 days ago, I was watching with like a friend of mine. We were watching this like 1990s Tamil movie. I don't know if you
really?
heard of it. It's called Jeans, right? It's
Yeah, of course, the Aishwarya Rai one. No.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
Ashwarya's first movie, right?
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like talking about like how she was so hot, and we were like, oh, you know what? Maybe we should watch it. So we got together, and we watched it, and like literally, like how many shots? Like some shots they were in New York, but like flew just to SM to take the shot of that crooked street. There's one. But yeah, so like the cricket street is like very famous in the
Yeah.
UAE.
I mean, 90s was basically America. Then you had, I think, a couple of them in Europe, where you had like Bollywood would shoot in Europe, and then you had Dubai. That's like later became the main sort
Later,
of later.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think earlier on it was either America, like Switzerland type Europe, that area.
Switzerland, yeah. Everybody was into all the songs are in Switzerland. Like, okay, like enough. I've seen enough snow. Thank you. But yeah,
But yeah, that's nice though. I mean, of course, it's not great that you can't watch football or anything, but it's nice that at least you've been able to sort of at least have a social life there.
for sure. I think the community is much bigger in Toronto too for football. Because like I remember next to my university was the Manchester United supporters club. Like there was a
Oh,
proper bar with like banners and all of that hanging right outside. And it was a pretty famous bar. We used to like go to it like during engineering and all. And like now it's also like a United supporters club. So like because I feel like and I've seen just like how I've seen Dubai grow. I feel like I've seen Toronto. I've been there for a decade now, and I saw Toronto grow. And like right when I was about to leave, I like looked at it and I was like, "This is Dubai now. This is exactly what it has
I mean,
become." People from Dubai move to Toronto.
exactly.
And, like,
I was going to say that. It's like everyone's probably moved from here to
I
there.
swear to God, dude. Like I'm like in downtown. Okay, it's unheard of in downtown. Like when I was first there, unheard of for downtown to have like Indian food. Like nowhere, no, not possible.
Yeah.
I'm leaving like just like the 2 weeks before I was leaving. An Annapurna opens up like 2 streets from me, massive, and it looks exactly like the scene from Karama with the same whiteboard. And like there are like 3 new dosa places like between like, 3 blocks from each other.
Yeah, I'm
So,
sure. I'm pretty sure. I mean, the number of people who actually moved from here to there is just insane. It's crazy. But yeah, like you mean, yeah, I'm not surprised though. Like you would definitely find that here. I mean,
yeah,
it's okay. But how's like the pandemic situation there? In the sense that you're only working from home, or what's
yeah.
yeah?
So mostly just work from home. I think everybody's still just working from home right now. You have the option to go into work if you would like to, but
Yeah.
okay, all right. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna choose to wake up at 6 a.m. and like drive. Okay, no, thank
Yeah.
you.
Like yeah, it's an option. What? No.
No, thanks. So like that I feel like I even shared that meme.
But
Like
then it's
meetings.
like everything open there.
Yeah, so mostly everything's open. So restaurants are open, gyms are open, bars are all open, everything's open really. It feels normal. It's just you don't go into work. That's the only
Okay.
thing. Because like the problem is like if you go to work and there's an outbreak, then the company is liable.
Yeah.
That's the issue. So you can sue the company saying you forced us to come to work and then now I fucking died. So screw you.
I mean, someone else is there. If you can't say that, if you're
yeah, you come back as a ghost in a
yeah.
company. So like that's the reason why it's not open.
You've been watching way too many horror movies. If you're gonna say my ghost is gonna haunt that company,
My
like,
ghost
like
yeah,
writing on the walls.
exactly.
Yeah.
Don't slap.
No, it's a courage. It's
Yeah,
not courage.
I thought that because like I saw it as I was watching the highlights today and I saw Maguire trying to head. he made a header, he missed. Okay, and I was like, return the slab.
Oh, suffer the curse. Oh my god, that episode. I mean, that show is insane.
Like that, I don't think no horror movie comes close to Courage the Cowardly Dog. Not even like, not even close.
I mean, dude, that. Have you watched that episode with that Fred the Barber? That's like psychologically scarred.
Okay, so that's actually so. I was like after I love watching these like analysis videos on YouTube, like movies and whatever. And like this particularly, there was one thing that really dove deep into Courage and like why it's so scary, why it's so viscerally scary. There's a lot of influences from like Salvador Dali, surrealism, and like juxtaposing like 2D animation with 3D animation, like the return, the slab, and all of that. But particularly the Barber one, it's like a euphemism for molestation.
Yeah,
that's the problem with them. Like that's why that episode was so scarring because it was that was what he was trying to like explain to kids in that episode. So yeah, I understand why it's fucking scary. That thing was so scary, dude. Yeah.
Because that's like almost like an uncle and the like a child. That's sort of
Hopefully this
the
video doesn't zoom up,
reality.
right? Just
No, 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 no. It shouldn't. But like, yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, any plans of coming this side of town?
uh,
You
not.
have
And
anyone here?
I do like my dad is there right now, but the
Okay.
thing is, my mom is actually visiting, so she's in Toronto right now with my sister. So what actually
Hmm.
happened is my sister and I we exchanged places.
Yeah,
She was in
yeah.
Boston doing her residency, and not residency. She was doing her fellowship, and then
Hmm.
she finished, and then she is now at U of T where I studied. So like she came to Toronto, and I was like, I'm going to the US, and we really like swap places. So my mom's in Toronto right now visiting her, and she's like
Okay.
there. So like if I move, I'll probably just go visit them. Yeah, in Dubai, it's like dude, the travel kills you. 8 hour,
Yeah,
9 hour flight. You
that is
need like
true.
2 3 days just to recover
That's
at
true.
least.
Yeah.
Jet lag will kill you. Yeah, but like I was there like last year, like last winter. Like I was working from home before itself. Like
Hmm.
so like when I was in Toronto, I was hired in the SF office, but I was working remote
Working
in
from.
Toronto. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was working from home anyway. So I was like, if I'm working from home anyway, I could just go to Dubai and work from home. So
Yeah.
I just spent like 3 months of the winter, like last year in Dubai.
Nice.
So
Nice.
like my like Dubai filled and got enough like Malu shawarmas, and I'm
Oh
satisfied.
yeah. 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 I know things are pretty open here as well. So I mean, there are talks, but rumors are flying around that are trying to shift towards no masks or anything like that. But don't know. That's still quite a big decision to be made
It is
because
because like the vaccines also need boosters and all of that. You can't be
yeah,
certain with just the first
yeah,
shot.
they're now giving boosters for 60 and above, and then will slowly
Yeah.
come down to
So
us.
how's the expo thing going? Like we've been talking about for like 5 years now, and how's it? What's the vibe in the city?
There's nothing to be honest. I mean, it's far away from the city though, right? It's like all the way near the new airport or the Maktoum airport, which is like near Abu Dhabi side. You know the Palm
Yeah.
Jebel Ali area. So it's all the way there. So it's not even.
Don't say
So
all the way
it
there. That's what my house is. Okay.
really okay.
Yeah, no,
But
I live next to Sports City, Motor City, that area.
no, but
So like,
that okay,
pretty
yeah.
close.
So that's still here.
Yeah,
That's still. I mean, I'm in Silicon, so that's still here. But
yeah,
like that is in a. It's like going to DIP further than
yeah.
that and stuff like that.
It is.
So
Another
it
like
is in
20
a
minutes.
different. It is a different city. There's a metro that connects it all, so that's good. But
Yeah,
in
we
terms
built
of
that.
in the city, it's not that bad. I think traffic's kind of increased a lot more. I don't know why, but
So my
um,
I want to understand is, what about the people? Like, how do they feel? Like, is everybody excited about the thing? Are they going for it?
they
What does
are.
it
There are a lot
do,
of people.
first of
So
all? Like, um,
it's so it's all right. I mean, it started October, so they have this October pass thing where for like $95 you can go as many times in October,
uh-huh.
and then apparently there's this way that you can upgrade it to the season pass for cheaper rates and all of that. But it seems people have gone, but it's also because it's so far out that you need to have a weekend and all to kind of really check it out. That place is
Right,
huge. That place is like another city, so people are
right.
like it's like probably what
It's like,
20 times the size of Global Village or something.
that's what I was gonna say. It feels like Global Village when we were kids. Like we'd
It's
go
like Global
all the
Village
way
on
there.
steroids.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
But yeah, we just got our passes like yesterday, so hopefully
you know,
should go sometime. Yeah.
okay.
Been wanting to go. I mean, you're not gonna get that opportunity again. Like luckily it's there till March, so you still have time.
Oh, it's long time. So
Yeah.
what is it?
It's basically I think a lot of these countries showing off their special products and like showing off what their goals are for the next how many
So
ever
I keep
years.
imagining it, as the one from Iron Man 2, the Tony Stark
Yeah.
with the robots and all of that.
Yeah.
And then he uses that to create an atom. Like that's what I like. Um, like they used to call it. I think like historically they used to call it the World Fair,
Hmm.
Chicago World Fair. That was the most famous one was the Chicago World Fair. Like
Yeah.
a lot of big technologies were like unveiled on that one.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I think it's same here. They've got like key themes like sustainability or mobility or like whatever climate change and all. I think each country's got their own sort of goals that are stuff that they want to work towards. And they've like built like these crazy pavilions. Like you should see some of the designs for each country is different, and it's massive. But yeah, hopefully you should go there and then actually see what they've done there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no rides or anything like that. It's just like
it's not unfortunately, yeah. Unlike they've started the Dubai Eye, or it's called the Ain, right? Like the London Eye.
Oh, Ain. Interesting.
Yeah, it's called the
I like the trick. I like it.
So
they were building it. Like I saw it like last year. It was like there, but I don't think they opened it at that time.
So yeah, so they're opening it up today, I think. But so it's basically like it's like at like for a year or more, it's been just the Ferris wheel without the pods.
Yeah.
And I think now they finally yeah.
You know that.
So now it's the pods. So it's basically like the London Eye. And next to that, they've got a Madame Tussauds also here now. Right. So it's like the British culture is.
Like half the skyscrapers are like the same. They copied like the Chrysler building is one.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's one of them. And like there are a few London buildings.
Yeah. I don't think
that was very exciting. Like I thought that was a good idea.
That's my worst nightmare though.
Why? Because it blocks your view?
No, because so going up, they've got like you can go up inside the frame and like they've got like a sort of museum stuff. And so when you go up on high, they've got like a section where the floor is like glass, like the middle section is glass, and like I'm scared of heights. So if I look down, it's like I get.
Wait, have you ever like gone like skydiving or bungee jumping?
So bungee jumping I've done. Skydiving not.
Bungee jumping, and you're saying you're scared of heights.
So the thing is, I'm scared of heights, but I'm at the same time, like I will do stuff. Shit. Yeah. So so in Sri Lanka and all, like there's this huge Sigiriya rock, like 200 meters or something, and you have to climb that up. And don't climbing up. They've got like a proper thing, but you have to go up, and after a certain point to reach the summit, there's like almost like an unpaved sort of place where you have to walk up, and it's got like a narrow staircase or sort. So if someone pushes you, you fall off the mountain. And dude, I went alone, and no one was there, and I was like walking.
No one to push you.
No. As a, like no one that I didn't go with family or anything. I went alone, and so climbing up that itself was like shit, dude. As I was climbing up, I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna make this. Like panic attack central. And there's this one part where it's a small spiral staircase where you're going up and down at the same time. People going up and down. Luckily, it's blocked, but at the same time, so you have to stop and move. And I'm stopped, and I can look down, and it's like acres of a sheer drop, right? And I'm like, oh, please move on, move. And then I realized that wasn't even the main staircase. That was just to see the paintings and the cave paintings, stuff like that.
Oh.
And I was like, shit, I came and I.
What is that? The Ajanta caves or Ellora caves? Like, what's the name of this?
Isn't that in India? Ajanta caves.
Oh, maybe
no, this is called Sigiriya Rock or something. So it's in Sri Lanka. Yeah. And so and then I climbed up, and then coming down, dude. So they've got like the tour guides, right? And the tour guides have been up and down quite fast. And I'm slowly walking down, and this tour guide from the back starts kneeing me on the back, okay? With I'm like, dude, stop it! And it's a smooth steel staircase. So it's not even got like proper grip. So if I slip, I am like gone. Yeah. So this guy's like he's kneeing me from the back.
And there's no one around you to even like. Yeah.
Wow. I'm like, dude, man, and I'm stuck because there's a queue in front of me. There are people in front. So I can't move faster than I want. I want to run down. I can run down fine. But I can't move. And this guy's like kneeing me from the back, trying to help someone. I was like, dude, stop it, man. But yeah. I was talking about that. We also had like that travel thing that you wanted to work on, remember?
The travel Instagram?
Yeah, no, not the Instagram, but I think like early on you're like, let's document our travels or some itinerary, something.
You were doing it, and I was doing it too, and I was like, maybe we should just like
That was
put it together.
before 12th man as well. He has so many
Yeah,
ideas.
and you're also doing a food one on the side too. You're
Yeah.
doing a food.
So I
Food.
had that. Yeah, but then writing it like takes a toll,
Oh,
and with this also. But I wanted, like, there are ideas with that which I'm exploring to get that moving. So hopefully,
mhm.
but yeah.
Yeah,
So
like I've channeled my, like, I still love doing that, like love sharing, and like, so I've channeled that with my work. So right now I have a TikTok where I post videos of
hmm,
like me, like solving machine learning problems and like talking about ML algorithms and like the math behind all of that. So like
yeah.
teaching ML, but like on TikTok. So
Nice.
I'm getting to do the creative part of it, but like
Yeah.
I'm reinforcing that with my work. So
Work. No, that
good.
makes sense. That makes a lot. That's pretty cool. And I guess TikTok's like the easiest way as well. Just
Yeah,
quickly
like 1 minute,
post.
simple, like just like sound bites, and it's a good way to get followers too. Like I already have like 2,000 followers, and
Wow. Yeah.
people like talk. It's very good because it's kind of like TikTok is like Reddit and like YouTube on steroids, like
Hmm.
combined. I had
Yeah.
a kid, and I was like,
Definitely. Yeah.
so like it will like recommend and push you into a place where like you yourself didn't know that that's how you're supposed to be. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
will realize things about yourself ending up in these places. And so like it's been good to like get a community in that sense
I
too.
mean that's the nice part about it, but I feel like the thousands who use it for just random stuff is just thrown me off that app completely. In the sense that,
Really?
yeah, I can't, man. It's like, look at the random crap that's been posting there by random people daily, and I'm like, no way.
I think like you're just gonna have to be on it enough that like you get a
Yeah,
niche that you do. So like
yeah,
I'm in like they call it tech talk.
yeah,
Tech TikToks
yeah.
or tech talk. So like all the videos I see are of like people in tech and just like talking about tech, and like there's
Makes
already
sense.
people I know, and we like formed like friendships just from like TikTok, right? Like Reddit was great because like you choose where you want to be. Reddit is your choice. You go and like you follow a
Yeah,
subreddit, you follow
true.
the Red Devil subreddit, and all of that.
Yeah,
In TikTok, like just by your actions, you automatically end up where you're supposed to. Just
yeah,
goes straight there.
yeah. I
So
guess. It makes sense. I mean, for me, like Twitter's kind of been like the main uh, social media stuff that I
it
do
is a
for
dumpster
football.
fire, man. It was just a dumpster fire. It's just like people flinging shit at each other constantly. Like I can't. I've
But
tried. I can't with Twitter.
yeah, so I don't like, in the sense that the people that you follow also, I guess, make up the feed. So it's, so the people like that are on my Twitter feed are pretty
Yeah,
the same sort of football. There are obviously the odd random comments that are posted, and but then it's just fun. It's fun because then you get to kind of
yeah. Probably
call
because
them
I
out.
followed. Probably because I also follow like Donald Trump and all of that, just to like see what's going on. And like see up shit, like because of
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I'm passing out. It's like
yeah.
1:30.
I mean, yeah. I guess that's. I mean, I was supposed to be a half-hour podcast, but I'm glad. I mean, there's plenty to talk about. So,
Of course.
but it was a nice chat, man. It was good catching up with you, and yeah, hopefully we can
Yeah,
get on to a proper football podcast soon.
it's been great. Yeah, it was great catching up, man. It's been like a long time coming, and like I
Yeah,
love all the ways you've taken the channel, like all the different avenues you've taken it to. You just like grabbed this like idea, and then like you've
yeah,
implemented it, and then you've taken it like in great direction.
yeah. I mean,
Really
that's the
proud.
thing, right? Like, there's something like, it's an opportunity that you, I guess, presented, and it's just something that even I was at that point, and I guess as football fans, you just kind of love it, and I guess it also helped the fact that uh, built that network, because I feel like if it had just been the same people that we did in 12th man,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been at the place that I am. But the fact that
Mhm.
we've actually managed to build a good network is probably what's pushing me to do more of this stuff.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, man, thanks for being a part of this first episode. And like I mentioned, can't wait to host you soon.
Super glad to be here, and I can't wait for the next time. Great seeing you, man.
Awesome. Yeah, and thanks to those of you listening and basically watching this, because this is only available on YouTube. So thank you for watching this particular episode. You can catch our other series on podcast platforms and on YouTube. We do all of that there. And you can also be a member of the podcast. Check out our Patreon page. We've got different tiers, different membership benefits, all of that. So go check that out. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the like button, share. And yeah, we'll definitely get you on here. If you've been on the podcast before, you'll definitely be a part of this series at one point or the other. So thank you. And that's it for me. That's it for episode 1. I'm your host, Brady, once again. You stay safe and see you.